Alright guys, I made a video last night when I was setting this all up, but I was just ranting basically about how I did everything and I thought it was a little too technical for most people. If you have questions on how I did it, then you can ask me and I can kind of explain it. I just basically combined a bunch of guides. But basically this is my sister's PfSense box. I've showed it before, but it was a Dell Optiplex at the time. I upgraded it. This is my old FreeNAS box. It's AMD E350 motherboard. They're like really low power AMD motherboards, built-in GPU. No, they don't need a heatsink. They don't need a CPU fan, but it came with one, so I just installed it. It's got a 1 Broadcom gigabit NIC, which does work with PfSense, and then it has two. I put an Intel PCIe NIC and a PCI NIC. So this gigabit Broadcom one is the WAN, so that's hooked up to the modem over there. And then this one's the LAN, because that's the fastest one. That's hooked up to that switch right there, the black wire. And then this one is the wireless, which is hooked up here. And also the wireless, I set this up as a switch, and I have these ones going to like the PS3s. And this is in 2 PS3s. I forgot what the heck the other one is. Oh, so this one comes from the box. This is 2 PS3s, and this is another wireless. Because their house is a one-story, it's kind of laid out, kind of wide. So this is another wireless in the house, like a Cisco wireless access point. This is actually also acting as a wireless access point right now. So yeah, I labeled everything because I'm hoping this is the last hardware upgrade I've done. And at this point, I don't need to help them fix stuff as much because sometimes stuff would break when I was always constantly transitioning stuff. But for the most part, I'm going to try to get like as much uptime as I can. I think the longest this had was around like 60 days before I think PfSense had an upgrade, so I had to upgrade it, and that broke the uptime. So I've never had huge uptime with this machine because I'm always doing something to it, but this is it. I upgraded the RAM as well. Well, I mean, the last time I showed this wasn't the computer, but it used to have 4 gigs. It now has 8 gigs, which is good because I'm running ZFS on here. I used to have, so this is true of my Dell too. I used to have my root partition, and then I had an extra UFS partition, which was on one of these 3 terabyte greens. Well, what I ended up doing is when I reinstalled it on this computer, I used 2, you can't see the other one right there, one there and one there. I used 2 laptop hard drives, 500 gigs, kind of slower, 5400 RPMs. Those are my root and swap. When you install PfSense, there's an option to make it on a mirror if it sees 2 hard drives. So it'll just mirror it, do all that for you. Crappy part, it doesn't tell you if the mirror fails. So the mirror failed for me once. Oh shit. Yeah, the mirror failed for me once. So one of the guys dropped out, and it never emails you, even if you set up your email notification. So but it does put a widget on your PfSense GUI, and you'll notice it doesn't say the Gmirror status doesn't say complete. It says like degraded or faulted or something. So all I had to do was turn off the box, turn it back on. It noticed the drive again, and then I just added it. Offlined it off the mirror and put it back on the mirror, and then it resilvered it. It took like an hour or 2, and it was back and running. I don't have much data on the root. It's just like, the packages in PfSense install. I also have a jail running on here, so if you have questions how to run jail, I basically use the FreeBSD instructions. PfSense is basically, you can use FreeBSD instructions except for the init. You can't just edit your etc.rc.conf. I'm not sure if you should use rc.local. I think you should use rc.conf.local. And the services don't start in init. It doesn't automatically start all of them. All you do is get the shell command package and then add your service. Like I put like service easyjail.sh or easy.adminjail or something like that. That package. That FreeBSD package. I did service easyjail.sh start or something. And that'll start the jail. So you have to manually start all your packages. So the ones I have running on here is I have NFS running on PfSense. These are the packages I have running that aren't PfSense packages, because those will automatically start because they go through PfSense's init, which it uses some other crap, so it doesn't use the regular FreeBSD stuff. So enable it in your etc.rc.conf.local, and then just add a shell command to start it, and it seems to be working fine. So I had to start ZFS now that I have ZFS, and I'll explain that in a minute. So I did service, ZFS, start. I do service, NFSD, start, and mount D, start. Those 2 services you need together in order for NFS to work properly. And then the last thing is I have the jail start. So those are the three things I'm running on my PfSense that aren't packages. So I had to add them to my shell commands. Yeah. So sorry, that's a little technical, but yeah, that's how you do that. Ask me if you have any questions. So what I ended up doing is I had the root. One of these was a UFS partition. Oh, it had one large 3 terabyte UFS partition. It was almost completely full of movies and stuff to be downloaded already. So what I ended up doing was getting these two drives, creating a ZFS mirror. Sorry, not like ZFS RAID Z, but saying it had 3 drives, and you'll see instructions online if you need help with that, or you can ask me and I can link them, or in message or something. But basically, you create a RAID Z with a missing drive, and at any point it could fail, but it's not a big deal because you have your data here. And what you do is you move your data from one to the other. So here's the steps you should do though. If you get these WD greens, first put them in DOS, use the WD idle 3 tool, and turn off the spin down thing it has. It spins on every 8 seconds. You can disable that. That's number one, because you don't need to save energy. Like this server is probably going to be hitting these hard drives constantly, so it's not going to be able to spin down for very long. And so that's number one. Number two, do the RAID thing, and if you have to do what I did was use a faulted RAID, and then what I did was rsynced all the data onto this faulted RAID, and then offline the fake device that was on there, and then added this there. Actually, offline it first before you move the data. Then you move this and replace that, and it'll resilver it, and then now you have 3 out of 3 on your RAID instead of 2 out of 3, like in a faulted state. So WD idle, do that, and when you create that RAID Z, make sure you also do the 4K instructions, because these drives pretend to be 512 byte aligned. You want to say they're 4K byte aligned because you'll get higher performance, because these drives are actually 4K byte aligned, but there's some dust. But they fake 512 for like Windows XP compatibility. I don't give a crap about Windows XP. So you get this drive, you get these. I got a RAID Z going now. So basically, it's 3 times 3 terabytes, and one of them, one out of that is your redundancy. So it's basically I have 6 terabytes of space now in my PfSense install with one thing of redundancy. So if one drive were to fail, the RAID would still be okay. I could offline it and replace it. If one wasn't to fail, but I was getting like errors, it can scrub from the correct one, because ZFS uses checksums, and like if it finds that a file starts to get corrupted, no other file system could do this. If it sees a file gets corrupted, it'll find the good copy from your RAID, because you basically have 2 copies on your RAID. You have the version that's created on the redundant disk and the version that's striped across the data disks. So that's why ZFS is awesome. And then the other awesome part of ZFS is you make a data set on top of your Z pool. So I made a data set for my media. The options I did on that was I did no A time. You almost always want to enable that option, because basically it means that if you read a file on that Z pool, it's not going to write to the Z pool the last read time, because who cares about that, except some programs need that, but for your media you're not going to need that. And almost anything you're not going to need to see the last time you read a file, only the last time you wrote a file. So that really helps performance, and it also makes your snapshots lower. I also added a cron job, so PfSense has a cron package. You can add your cron commands right there. I add a cron job once a week to do a snapshot on the media, so if something gets accidentally deleted, I can always go into the snapshot, copy the old copy, and just replace it. So they don't I'll show them how to delete media now in case, so they want to save space, and then if they accidentally delete something, I'll make it so the snapshots last for a month, and then within that month they can always ask me, oh crap, I deleted a movie, I don't want to have to download the whole thing. I'll just say, okay, I'll just restore it. And then, but after a month, it will actually get deleted from the disk, and the space will be freed. So that's another feature of ZFS is snapshots. And basically, it's like keeping a copy of that without using any extra space. It's only using the space to delete it and change stuff. So sorry if this is fairly technical. If you have any questions, but basically, this is all running on PfSense. It all works perfectly, no problems. Got my UPS there. Got my switch. All these guys, I labeled them, like I said. This stuff, you can ignore this. This is my web server, and it's a UPS I have for that. This is all going to get out of here. I'm trying to buy a house in the next, couple months, and this will all be I'm going to set up a server closet here. So basically the system at my sister's house is complete. I've showed videos of it before, but I haven't showed her new PfSense box. This is it here. Just jumble to get parts together, but extremely high performance. I'm using NFS to share to currently two open elect boxes, which is like an embedded Linux XBMC install, and then another. My nephew uses XBMC on his desktop as well, and then pretty soon they're going to put another open elect box in their kitchen for like a Food Network and YouTube and stuff. I don't know how that's going to work out, but that'll be easy. I have an extra gigabit wire I could use in here and just plug it in through there. Pretty much, yeah. I got this guy for 43 bucks after taxes and shipping and everything. This is the WDR 3600. I saw it on Slick Deals. Got it. It has two USB ports. I put a USB drive and I put DDWRT on here. Put the USB drive. It's pretty awesome. It automatically mounts it. I still need to mess around with some packages, but I'm going to put cups on here. I'm going to wire the printer from the front room over there into here, plug it in here, so they'll have the wireless printing throughout the house. I don't want to do it here because then that's more stuff running on my firewall that isn't necessary when it already works on DDWRT. I want to mess around with this. Like if this fails, their internet's okay, you know, all the wired stuff still works. But so basically they have two, I put DDWRT on there. I edited the options. You can just search DDWRT wireless access point. They have the exact instructions you need to do to change all the options to get it to be a wireless access point. You plug it in and bam, you have a wireless network. You can still reach this guy's interface and change settings, and this isn't trying to be a router anymore. And then I have another Cisco, which is I bought as a wireless access point. Honestly, I recommend you just buy routers. They're a lot cheaper. Routers that have DDWRT compatibility, they're a lot cheaper for the performance you're going to get. And, you know, it might be a little bit easier. The other ones you just plug in, but honestly, putting DDWRT takes about 5 minutes. You just upload the file usually. If it has good support, upload it as the new firmware and it'll take it, like the stock GUI. Yeah, and then I just want to show the wiring real quick. I have all the guys that go to this switch. This is like the PS3 and other wireless access point crap that is on the wired wireless network. I have a PfSense PF rule that basically blocks this network from getting to this guy, so it can't get to the NFS share. It can't get to anything. I am gonna, you know, if anything I do need, like I have Samba running on here. I do port forward. I do have open ports for that, so like they can get to the Samba share. So like I said, Samba also isn't part of PfSense, but I'm running that on the jail. So the reason I'm not running NFS on the jail is you can't run NFS on jail because it's like part of the kernel. It's part of the kernel connected to the like network interface, so the jail can't do it. So ZFS obviously you can't because it's directly talking to the hardware. And what else did I run on there? And the jail obviously you can't run in the jail. So in the jail I have like I have all my downloading programs which I've showed before. SAB, NCBD, Sickbeard, and Couch Potato. I also have Subsonic there. My nephew's using that to stream to his Android phone and to manage his media. I have Nginx in front of all of that so that it just, you know, has one, they don't have to go to one port and everything's there. That's basically it. Another upgrade I did, this video is going to get really long, sorry guys, and I'm talking fast, but another upgrade I did is I flipped this panel over. Luckily it did flip over because before I hacked the fan onto here, but this isn't really blowing on anything. Here I have the 3 hard drives I actually care about. This is the most expensive part. I drilled some holes through the metal, just missed the hard drives, which is good, because I didn't want to, that would suck. But I drilled there, I put these things in there. There's like little rubber grommets, washers I put in there, so that somewhat help with noise reduction. It doesn't really matter, it's a garage. I have the fan, it's blowing inwards, and I have that wired into here. So basically, I have a fan in here that I hacked on, and blowing onto the 3 data hard drives, which are the most important, well, most expensive part of this build, you know. So the first one I bought a while ago, and my sister I was telling her about, like, oh, I can get this XBMC system going. The first one I bought, we paid $150 for it off eBay. This one, these two I just recently bought. I bought one for $110 after eBay and $105 after eBay. So, trying to save money on all this. This system is almost complete. The only thing I still want to do is the printer thing, like I said before. And they're probably going to throw like a cover on this whole area. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. I cleaned up all the wires. It'll be very easy to manage now, and hopefully I won't have to do anything. I also threw a VGA cable and plugged it in, so if there are problems, they can just grab one of their extra monitors in the house, plug it in, plug the power in here, and just put the monitor on here, and they can see what's going on. And the only crappy part is they do have to plug in a keyboard. And there's extra keyboards in the house, but they have to get back there. So, and they have to not put it in the USB 3.0 port, because that one does not work on, it's either I disabled it in the BIOS or it doesn't work in FreeBSD 8.3, which is what PfSense is currently based on. 8.1, sorry. So, that's basically it. I went through a lot of crap. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments. Oh yeah, I taped over the power button. This has those stupid Joule buttons. It doesn't work anymore. So it's like if you plug it into the motherboard, it constantly thinks it's being pressed. So I unplugged that, plugged that power into the reset button. So if you press this, it actually powers down. So this powers it down, powers it on. Also, whenever you have a server, you want to make it, set it in the BIOS to power on upon power. So anytime you plug power in, so basically if the power goes out and your UPS runs out of battery and the complete thing shuts down, but then PG&E or whatever your power is comes back on, this thing will see there's power available, it'll turn on. So you want to always enable that for a server. So yeah, that's basically everything I got. Hope this video isn't too long for YouTube. I don't know what the limits are. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, just put it in the comments or message me. See you guys.